Hey guys, today I wanted to celebrate the release of the new Captain Rex in the UCS Venator by taking a look at his evolution as a minifigure. Now, this isn't technically every Rex ever, because there's also Old Man Rex from Rebels, and I'm sure there's somebody in the comments that would say, hey, what about the guy from Endor? That's technically Rex too. Well, yeah, sure, I guess that they are, but I think that the best way to do this comparison is to show the evolution of Phase 1, then Phase 2, and now Phase 2 again, and just see how the figures developed over the years. If you haven't already, be sure to hit like and subscribe down below, and let's get into the video. So our first Captain Rex minifigure came out in 2008 alongside the Clone Wars, and the first set he ever came in was the ATTE. Now, interestingly, there is a slight variation of this figure, but you could get the variation by owning one set of him, and that is to change out the eye guard for the rangefinder here. So same minifig, just depends on the accessory that you want to have on his helmet. Now, speaking of his helmet, this is our only Phase 1 Captain Rex ever, and they did a really great job, especially for 2008, with the printing on here. You've got the gray on the middle of the fin, the blue on the forehead, as well as the blue around the eyes. It's just a really great helmet all around. Now, this entire figure would be reused again in 2011 for the Battle of Geonosis. Interestingly, beyond the helmet change, there's nothing exclusive on here. Of course, we do get the Captain Rex head underneath, where he's got some stubble on his face, which looks good. No reverse printing on the back of the head. And if we lift that head off, we can take off the shoulder pauldron there to see the printing on the torso and the blue arms, as well as the plastic gray waist cape that came on this figure all the way back in the day, along with those classic gray blaster pistols. The next Captain Rex minifigure was his Phase 2 variant, which came out in 2013, and this would be the last Rex minifig for 10 years until 2023 with the UCS version. That being said, this of course is Phase 2 Rex, and he came in the BARC speeder with sidecar set, and it's a unique take on the figure because as we look closer at the torso, you can see that he does have some like battle wear or some dirt printed on the front and back of the torso, which is definitely a unique version of the figure. Now, this figure did come with a cloth waist cape that looks really, really great, but let's go ahead and remove it so you can see all the detail on the legs. Once that's removed, you can see he's got all kinds of tally marks on both sides of his thighs, which look really good, and it's pretty unique to not have printing on the sides of the legs or anything, because the waist cape really helps add in a lot of that extra detail. Speaking of tally marks, we've got more tally marks right on the front of the torso, as well as both sides of the top of the foreheads of the helmet. He does come with a unique cloth pauldron here, and we'll move it to the side just so you can get a little bit of a better look at that torso. The helmet is really great on this. I love the sleek look of the eyes, and of course, we have so much printing on the mouth as well as the sides of the helmet that really help this one come to life. Lifting that helmet up, you can see we've got another face print here with some stubble on it, but it is slightly different from the original 2008 to 2011 Captain Rex in that there's just slight variations of detail on the print, namely a little line on the top side of his chin there, and just a little bit darker print on the 2013 version. And finally, it brings us to 2023, where we get the brand new Phase 2 Captain Rex. Now, this figure is exclusive to the $650 Venator from October of 2023, and because I'm making this video before that set has even released in stores, it's honestly a little bit difficult to say what he will be worth on the aftermarket. Now, we can do a pretty much direct comparison of the Phase 2 Captain Rexes, because the 2013 one and the 2023 one are depicting the same armor for Rex. But before we do that, let's just give him a quick review. Now, a great thing here is the printing on the arms. This is technically our first white clone trooper ever to get arm printing, and I love how much detail they went into here, as well as on the other side where we've got tally marks on there that kind of remind me of the previous version of Rex, but of course he's also got tally marks on the top of the helmet as well, which is really nice. Just like last time, he does get a very unique cloth pauldron here, and the biggest L for the figure is that they printed the waist cape on the sides of the legs rather than giving him an actual cloth waist cape, and I think that when we go in for the comparison here of looking at these two side by side, it is such a major downgrade for him to not have the waist cape on there. Before we close out the video, I'm going to put the old waist cape on just to show you what it would look like, but when we lift the helmet off the new one, you can see that we've got the Captain Rex minifig there, and of course he's got the inhibitor chip marking up on his forehead there. And I think that the new head looks a lot better than the old head, although I really wish that they would have given us a hairpiece to go with Rex, you know, just maybe like some blonde buzz hair or something like that. But yeah, I do think that both figures look really good side by side, but this one looks a lot more like live action, if you will, and this one does feel a bit cartoony, but of course, that's what they were going for when you look at that head print. And here's what Rex looks like with the waist cape from the 2013 one on it. I mean, it just looks so much better, and it's pretty nuts that in a $650 set, LEGO couldn't go just a little bit further and actually give us a cloth waist cape. Now, there's one final thing to talk about on these figures, and that is the helmets. Just to make sure we're still on the same page, we've got the 2013 one on the left and the 2023 one on the right. The last thing to talk about, like I said, are the helmets, and that being that the new one has holes in the helmet for you to put the rangefinder on, whereas the old one does not. Now look, a lot of LEGO Star Wars fans are upset that the holes are not put on that dot, because if you take the rangefinder off, there's just like a random hole in the helmet, which admittedly does not really look all that great. But honestly, it's kind of a catch-22, right? Are you better to have the hole there and be able to put the rangefinder on at all, or not have the hole? I don't know. It's such a nuanced thing. Honestly, I don't want to wade into the weeds of that debate. I really do like the new Rex figure. I wish that the helmet hole was a little bit lower. You could see that it could go right on that dot. I do wish that the helmet hole was lower. I mean, if it went down right onto that dot, it would look so much better, but it is what it is, and I do think the figure does look really great in spite of it. So with that being said, let's zoom out and wrap up this comparison. Well, needless to say, this is a really, really cool collection of Rex minifigures and quite expensive. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Be sure to hit like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.